Welcome to the Wilmington University View. Today's topic, Wilmington getting voted one of America's boring cities. Carly, how do you feel about that?
I feel that people may think that Wilmington is boring because of the crime factor that they have, and so not a lot of youth is going out and doing stuff because they don't feel safe in venturing out.
And not just the crime factor, but the fact that there's nothing to do in Wilmington. I mean, have you been to one of the malls lately? It's very depressing.
Yes, but the mall you're talking about and the mall I'm talking about is two different things. There is more than just the Tri-State Mall. There's Concord Mall, too, and that has way more stores and more things to do.
Well, maybe because I grew up in a bigger city, I'm a little biased, but I mean, both of those malls are just like depressing. Like I said, you kind of have to take antidepressants before you even go because it's that bad.
Where I grew up, it wasn't no malls. We had to come to Delaware just to go to a mall.
Wow.
So that shows me that it is something to do. We go to movie theaters over here. It's movie theaters. It's places to eat. It's a lot of stuff that youth could do, not just, a boring dead mall.
I mean, there's the malls, which isn't really great recreation. I mean, we're talking about our youth. We want them out. We want them doing things. We don't want them sitting in movie theaters. I mean, there's bowling alleys, of course, but even they're dangerous. And some parents don't have time to accompany their kids everywhere they want to go. And frankly, some parents don't even feel safe. I mean, just because they're older doesn't mean that they're safe from the crime. It's a factor for everyone.
Well, would you rather have your kids on the street or have them in a mall just hanging out with their friends? I mean, weighing the options, that's
frankly,
much better.
I would have them at home. I mean, if they're in Wilmington, that's basically...
There's more than just one part of Wilmington. There's not just inner city and downtown. There's more than that.
Yeah, and like the outskirts of Wilmington, like they do have great museums and all, but what 16-year-old wants to spend his Saturday looking at paintings in a museum? I mean, there needs to be more things that are geared towards our youth.
There is. There's more events. They try to have, where they, like parades and fairs and stuff like that. They try to have more of that stuff to get the community together. So it's not just, a dead, boring museum or something. And we'll be right back with the Wilmington University View. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us to the Wilmington View. We have Lamar Liffridge here, our expert on sports in terms of Wilmington.
Hi. I agree that Wilmington is a boring city as far as sports goes. Unless you count the Wilmington Blue Rocks, which is family-oriented, which goes from April to August. There's not much that you can do as far as sports goes, unless you're going to the YMCA, or if you're playing street ball with your boys, but I wouldn't count that sports because you also have to look at the demographic that the Wilmington Blue Rocks is aimed at. It's aimed for families, and you're talking about youths here. You're talking about the 15 to 29 age group. You're talking about kids that want to go out and party. They're not too concerned about shooting a ball on a basketball hoop.
And I feel like a lot of the time when people do think of going to sporting events, they don't say, oh, let's go to the Blue Rocks. They're thinking more, maybe let's go to the Shoreboards, or let's go see the Baltimore Orioles, or things like that. I know me growing up, I never went and saw the Blue Rocks. I think last year I went once, and that was my first time. We always went to Baltimore to see the Orioles because that was a bigger thing. There's more fans. There's more pride in that. There's no pride in the Blue Rocks.
Well, a lot more people go to the high school games. The high school, like William Penn, they go there. They go to those games. That's more of something to do. That's more of, their age to go hang out there and have fun, watch the game, see who wins.
Wasn't there like a stabbing at William Penn's basketball game last year or something like that?
I'm not quite sure about that. But, that is a great place to go. That's a high school. That's, something they can do, something to do with their spare time. There's also the PAL Center.
Or UD, but Wilmington, the city itself cannot invest in the Wilmington Blue Rocks just like Philadelphia can invest on the Phillies, the Eagles, the Flyers, or the Sixers. You're not going to have Joe Smo go all the way down to Flowers Stadium just to see the Blue Rocks. Where if you're going to Philadelphia to see the Phillies play, you'll get somebody from Baltimore, somebody from Wilmington, somebody from Dover, somebody from Northeast Pennsylvania wanted to go to Philadelphia to see the Phillies play. You're not going to get anybody from Chester, PA going down to see the Blue Rocks.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the schools do have a following. They have their students. That's great for the sports, but as far as for the Blue Rocks, we don't have a following for them. Nobody really cares.
Yeah, but it's just not about the Blue Rocks. It's about other things. Like there's a YMCA and there's a PAL Center where kids can go to have fun and to play with their friends. Like that's something to do. And the PAL Center is backed by the police in Wilmington. So that's something that's good for them. It's nothing that, you know, it's a good in terms of it's something very smart, educational. They have great programs there. That's something that's great for them to do.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's hard for the city to embrace the Blue Rocks when they have to use fireworks shows just to sell tickets to the Blue Rocks.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Wilmington University View. Joining us is Keith Illich, our expert on nightlife and entertainment. Well, Keith, we were discussing that Wilmington is on America's boring list for cities. What's your feel on that?
Well, my view, well, if you look at the situation here, you know, Delaware is like one of the smallest states, in the United States. So there's only certain limited stuff that teams can do. So we're not expecting, we can't really compare to other cities of what they have to offer because it's only what Delaware is limited to. So as I can see in Wilmington, I think there's a lot of things that the youth can do. I mean, you know, the riverfront, that's always nice to see. You got restaurants like Harry's the Boys, Iron Hill Brewery, Timothy's, and if we're going to a younger age, you got the movies. You always got the movies, the one in Brandywine. You always have the mall, Concord Mall. I know I was hearing through backstage that, you know, you guys were going back and forth through the whole little thing. Well, it's not safe and there's not that much stuff. But really, kids don't go there to shop. We all know that they just go there, walk around with their friends, and I mean, that's fun to them.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about the youth, I don't think you can include the riverfront because although that is nice, that's geared towards adults. And I don't think an adult wants to, you know, have a babysitter for the kids on a Friday night and go to a club or a restaurant, you know, on the riverfront and run into a bunch of 16-year-olds. So I don't think that that's quite for the youth. And again, going back to the malls, I don't want to be repetitive, but again, the malls are pretty depressing, man. So I don't think there's a lot of stuff for Wilmington youth to do. I mean, unless you want to go to a party at a firehouse. I mean, really.
Well, we all are basing on our opinions. We don't really know how the youth may feel, you know. But as I see, if we're talking city life, most of the kids, they enjoy Boys and Girls Clubs, and we have the YMCAs and stuff like that. Most of them, you know, most of them enjoy that type of lifestyle. Like I said before, there's if we go to our older crowd, because it's not really just the teens. If we go as young people, I guess we're 18 to, well, whatever age, I don't know, 12 to like 25, something like that. You've got like, you know, not to say, but like strip clubs and stuff like that. Some of that fine enjoyment in that. You got what is it? You got clubs. I mean, they have the Loop here at Wilmington. A lot of people, there's only certain things that you can do in Wilmington, Delaware, and they have to use those resources to do those. So I don't think it's much of a bad thing for the youth. I think as long as they enjoy it, everything's cool. And you also keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not that far to go to Philly. They can go to Philly. They can go to Baltimore.
And what you may find depressing, youth may not find depressing.
And if we think about these places like Iowa and all these states that are not popular, what are the kids doing there? They're doing the same things that we could see our kids doing right now in Wilmington.
And we'll be right back with the Wilmington University View. Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of the Wilmington View. Do you have any last thoughts?
You know, I've heard some things from both sides tonight, but I'm still saying that Wilmington is a boring city, and that's because of the crime and because of the outside commuters. Nobody's going out in the city anymore.
Lois, what do you think about that?
I mean, I totally agree. It's funny that Wilmington is the go-to city for the big businesses. Why can't we be the go-to city for fun things?
I disagree with the both of you guys. It's more to Wilmington than just the crime and the business side. There's plenty of things to do. Thanks for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Wilmington View. See you next week.